The roar of waves is swallowed by the screams of dying men. On this blood-soaked sand, an empire will find its ultimate doom.
Hold the gate! Stand firm, men! They are breaking through! Brace for impact!
But this 10-year siege is not a war of ordinary men. Suddenly, a single warrior steps forward, casting a shadow over all. His name strikes terror into the hearts of kings. Gods watch in silence as the deadliest weapon in human history is finally unleashed. This is the brutal reality behind the myth. Shadows of the War presents Achilles, the greatest warrior of the Trojan War. Meanwhile, the fuse of this global conflict had been lit months earlier, driven by a stolen queen and broken, ancient oaths. However, King Agamemnon cared little for love. He saw a perfect opportunity to crush Troy and dominate the Aegean trade routes forever. But Achilles despised the arrogant king. He fought only for eternal glory, knowing a dark prophecy guaranteed his death on these shores. Inside the city, Prince Hector felt the trap closing. He knew the gods had brought a merciless monster to destroy his home. Soon, the beachhead became a meat grinder. Wave after wave of Greek soldiers threw themselves against the impenetrable, towering walls of Troy. Then, Achilles joined the fray. His spear tore through defensive lines with terrifying precision, leaving piles of broken bodies in his wake. But greed soon fractured the Greek alliance.
You challenge my authority! I will take Briseis from you, and you will learn respect!
Agamemnon insulted Achilles, stripping him of his war prizes and destroying the warrior's pride. Consequently, Achilles withdrew his forces. Without their champion, the Greek lines began to collapse under a ferocious, desperate Trojan counterattack. Suddenly, the air turned cold for the Greeks.
Hold your ground!
Hector slaughtered their champions, driving the desperate invaders back to their burning ships.
For Achilles!
Desperate to save his friends, Patroclus wore the armor of Achilles. The Trojans froze, believing the legendary demon had returned. But the illusion shattered quickly. Hector struck him down, realizing too late the horrific mistake he had just made on the battlefield. When the news reached Achilles, his grief transformed into absolute madness. The earth seemed to tremble with his monstrous, burning rage. Therefore, the time for politics was over. Clad in new, God-forged armor, Achilles marched toward the gates of Troy alone. His voice echoed off the stone walls. Hector stood on the battlements, smelling the heavy scent of his own oncoming death. Meanwhile, a terrifying silence fell over the plains. The two greatest warriors of the age finally stood eye to eye. Suddenly, the clash began. Swords struck shields with deafening vibrations, each blow meant to butcher, decapitate, and completely destroy. Finally, the turning point arrived. Achilles found a fatal gap in the collarbone, piercing Hector's throat with cold, lethal precision. Yet, killing Hector was not enough. Achilles dragged the prince's body through the dirt, desecrating his enemy before weeping Trojan eyes. In the end, vengeance brought no peace to Achilles. The battlefield fell completely silent, leaving only the stench of useless rot. However, a moment of profound humanity broke the darkness. Troy's grieving king begged for his son's body, softening the warrior's heart. But the gods had already woven Achilles' fate. Paris drew his bow, guided by divine hatred toward the warrior's only weakness. Unexpectedly, the invincible giant fell. A single arrow brought down the man who could not be conquered by entire armies. Ultimately, Troy fell soon after. The city was burned to ash, its people enslaved, fulfilling a brutal, decade-long cycle of violence. Centuries later, the names of kings have been entirely forgotten. Yet, the bloody legend of Achilles still echoes across time. Because war does not preserve the righteous, it only immortalizes the fierce. His glory was bought with rivers of innocent blood.